No, I remember back in, it was the summer of 1965. That's a long time ago now, but I remember because I got out of high school that spring. And I turned 18 during the summer. And I was playing in these little places around the city, and other, like Boston and wherever, just not real gigs, just like coffee house, pass the basket stuff. I was just looking for pizza money, And I was doing okay in pizza. And, but I got a call that summer from some friends of my dad's, a couple of fine bluesmen, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. And I had gone to hear them every time they came to town. I'd sit right up in the front. I'd watch like a hawk everything he was doing, And if I couldn't figure it out, I'd go back, sneak backstage and say, Brownie, show me how you're doing that stuff. And he would, slow down and actually show me. Nobody played their harmonica like Sonny Terry, even today. And you could just sit there and try to absorb it, But they gave me a call and asked me if I would go out to the West Coast, to Los Angeles, and open a show for them. And I don't know what happened. I went berserk. You know how it is when you're around 16 to 18, 19, the West Coast calls you. You know what, even to this day, it's like you turn that age and suddenly it's like, West Coast. And so it happened to me too. And so I got out there. But what had happened was my mom was nervous because she didn't want me going, somewhere on my own. I was still fairly young. She said, Arlo, if you're going out to the West Coast by yourself, well, naturally you have to stay with family or friends. And I said, Mom, we don't have family or friends out there. She said, well, then the next best thing. The next best thing was this guy I just mentioned, Ramblin' Jack Young. He had hung out with my dad for a few years, took care of him on the road, as best he could, and my mom figured that'd be a safe bet. But at 18, I knew Ramblin' Jack better than my mom. And I was freaking eager to stay with Ramblin' Jack. I didn't let her know that. I said, well, if I have to. So I get out, I fly to Los Angeles, Jack picks me up, and he was living at that time in Malibu, just north of LA. And he was in those days, and continues to this very day, to be a rodeo fanatic. Just crazy about it. So the first thing we did, we put down my stuff in his house, walked right out the door again, down the street, to a rodeo arena that was near his home. And the Trancas Riders and Ropers Association was having some kind of an event going on that day, barrel riding contest, rodeo stuff, and big parade on horseback, with the flags, whatever. Leading that parade was about the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in my entire life. Stop you cold, just dropped dead, drooling out of both sides of your face. And I just saw her coming. And she was riding by, and I was just looking, she didn't even, not just look at me, not a glance, nothing. No acknowledgement at all. Her shadow come right up to me and went around and then kept going. It was like that. And I was just sitting there just feeling so bad and depressed. I wanted her to say something, And Ramblin' Jack saw that in my face. And he looked at me, took pity on me. He said, Arlo, take this. I said, what is it? He said, don't worry, it'll wear off. I had some strange dreams that night. Got up the next morning, got out the 12th string, sitting out there in Malibu, and wrote this next song on the 12th string, put it on the first record that came out a couple of years later. And of course, that girl, she didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it, but we'd meet again a couple of years later, get married, have kids, all that stuff. Celebrated our 43rd wedding anniversary about a year ago. It's very sweet. She was very ill at the time, about a year ago, but she lived long enough to get through that anniversary with me and all the kids and all the grandkids and stuff and all the memories we had. And I'll never forget that first time I saw her. and the song I wrote, you know, and put on that record. So here's an old song, one of my favorites from that time.